Hey everyone, this is Ash and Rima from Mass Effect Odyssey, and today we bring you our first podcast ever. As to how many we actually do, I don't know at this point, but we asked people what they wanted, and a few people said a podcast would be nice, so we're going to record the first one now. And we're going to start off nice and simple, and nothing controversial at all.
It might be the most controversial one ever, to be honest. You say it's not controversial, but I think it's probably
I was trying to be sarcastic, come on.
You did not read.
No, I know. But we're going to talk about the Mass Effect 3 ending, because a couple of people have asked our opinions on it, and we thought, why not doing a podcast, and then we can just do it quickly.
It's like the big elephant in the room, isn't it? Yeah. When everyone talks about Mass Effect, it's like, what did you think of the Mass Effect ending? And everyone goes, and waits.
Exactly, yeah. So, general consensus is essentially that it wasn't the best ending in the world. That's what most people, I would imagine, have said.
People hate it. People hate that ending. Like, they hate, like, the plague or something. Like, people think it's the end of time has come, and it's, like, the worst thing any developer has ever done. It's quite shocking.
Yeah, I've seen much worse, so I think saying it's, like, the worst ending of any game ever, no. If anyone's played Halo 2... Halo 2's ending is much worse.
If anyone has played Star Trek the video game, no one can talk about any game ever about being anything bad.
That wasn't just a bad ending, that was just a bad game.
Bad experience in life, so let's not go there.
Anyway. You played through the whole game.
Yes, okay.
But yes, so the way we're going to do it is Rima's going to talk about the initial ending we picked. The problem is that we played Mass Effect 3 multiple times, and in a lot of cases picked multiple endings. So we're going to go with our initial...
The first ever
playthrough we had, and which one we picked, why we picked it, and just any kind of little bits where we may have messed up. Because obviously, when Mass Effect 3 came out initially, there was no extended cut DLC. So if you did mess it up, you messed it up pretty well. Chances are, and I know I did. So yeah, and obviously then we can go into after the extended DLC came out as well. There as well. So
okay. So when I finished playing Mass Effect 3 the first time, I did not know anything about the Galactic Readiness Score. I did not know that Mass Effect multiplayer was joined into the single player. I played the multiplayer, but I don't tend to play a lot of multiplayer, so what I did was I left it till after the game was done. And I think I wasn't the only one that thought that. Generally, I think people didn't realise they were linked, but that's okay. I played it, I must have bombed it fairly. Also, I did no side missions. As with every game I play, I race through the main campaign.
So you did essentially what I do on every single game.
I'm a completionist when it comes to BioWare games. I complete every single side mission. But the first time I play it, I get really excited to play it, so I'd run through the single player as fast as I can, and I can, like, you can probably contest this, I finish games very quickly as soon as I get them.
Yes, yeah.
So my first ending I got was, I didn't get a choice of 3, I got a choice of 2 because my ending must have been really terrible. But as far as I can tell, I got the better ending of the bad endings, if that makes sense. That meaning that it presumed that everyone else I knew had survived, everyone I'd kept alive in the game so far. But I picked Destroyed because it was either Destroyed or Control, and I wasn't going to pick Control, so I picked Destroyed. And I didn't get any breathing animation or anything like that, so I don't know. There was that red filter thing, and then that was kind of it. I kind of was very confused when the first time I played it. I wouldn't say it was a terrible ending. I don't know why I was feeling. I was just like, oh. I was like, and I thought I've done something wrong, which I did, but I didn't realise what I had done wrong, and I also didn't realise how to fix it, so I was just like, oh. So that was my experience. I just didn't understand. So yeah. That was me.
Okay. So yes. So with me.
With you. I'm waiting to hear the story.
I made a bit of a boo-boo. But the thing is, I started playing Mass Effect really late as well. I didn't play Mass Effect 1 until after I bought Mass Effect 2. Because I was interested in the game, but at the time Halo was like in its like height of popularity, and I was just like, no, I'll stick with Halo, it's fine, it's first person, and I've always been brought up on first person. So I bought Mass Effect 1 after I bought Mass Effect 2, and then played them both very, very late. So I actually played Mass Effect 1 a year after I bought it, so but sort of jumping forward to Mass Effect 3, I get very excited about these things, and obviously having played the previous games, I was like, yes, can't wait for this game to come out. got it on launch day, took it home, and played and just blasted through it. And normally I don't do that. Normally I take my time with it, but I'll just miss all the side missions because I don't normally tend to know what the side missions are at the time. So I just I blast through the main storyline and go from there. And so my ending essentially consisted of, because I had the same problem as you, I didn't realise the multiplayer was tied to the single player at all. So I didn't even touch it. And I'm not good at multiplayers anyway, but I enjoy playing them because it's good laugh with friends. But yeah, played the entire story, picked the red ending because it was literally the only option open to me. I had no other choice. Did
everything get destroyed in your ending then? Like everything? The entire galaxy just implode because that's like the worst ending, isn't it?
Yeah, basically, I didn't get the breathing ending. I had, as far as I know, the very minimum EMS score because I didn't play the multiplayer at all, and whatever. So it must have been like maybe 1800, 1900, something like that, even maybe less than that, because I didn't understand what it all meant at the time. And it played through the game, got to the end, got the story ending, does the like final kind of red filter thing you were talking about, and it got to the bit where the kind of the blast catches up with the Normandy. Now obviously in the original one, if that happens, the Normandy kind of jolts off and looks like it's crashing kind of thing, whereas in the extended cut version it doesn't do that. And yeah, I literally just got the scene of where the spaceship's on the planet, like it's the spaceship, the Normandy is on the planet at the end, and literally the door just goes and just opens slightly, and then it cuts to credits. So I immediately screwed up straight away. So I didn't get one to my second playthrough, which wasn't until about 4 months later. So, and by then there was the flaw about the ending, and I think by then the extended DLC was either coming out or had just come out. So I royally ballsed up my playthrough and literally got a door open.
I ballsed up my second one too. I ballsed up my second one too. Extended cut had come out by the time I did my second one. And even though I did the multiplayer, I did everything. I think you were in a call with me at that time when we were doing it. And I downloaded my extended cut and got my EMS score right.
I remember, yes.
And I got the same. I got the same ending because my extended cut hadn't downloaded properly.
Yeah,
and I was like, "What? This can't be the extended cut." So we're talking about are we talking about our then proven endings that we normally tend to do now?
Yes. So that was our mistake endings essentially. Yes, basically. So our proper endings. Okay. I still pick the same option. Even though I did the multiplayer, I got a good enough score where I didn't get the full 100%. I'm still yet to do that, but I got to about 79%. So it was more than enough to get the ending I wanted. Because when I heard about there's an ending where Shepard lives, and I decided I'd get enough to do that. Did that. And then, but by the time I'd done that, I got all three options. I got the synthesis, I got the control, and I got the destroy. I still chose destroy because at the time I thought, I'm destroying the Reapers. They've been screwing with us for over 3 games, not realizing that every single kind of robot friend of mine would also die at the same time. And especially if you're a person that got the Geth and the Quarians to work together, you completely wipe out the Geth anyway by choosing that option. So yes, it's like, yes, I got them to work together, and like 5 minutes later you're killing them. It's just like, but it took me like a year and a half to get the Geth and the Quarians to work together anyway, and that was purely through your help. And I think the 2 main points that annoyed me the most was not being able to get the Geth and the Quarians to work together, and also not being able to get everyone to survive at the end of Mass Effect 2, which you helped me on both of them. Yeah. So so in my like successful ending, I will call it, I got the Shepard lives ending, or the breath ending as it were, and then you got like the start, the kid and the Buzz Aldrin voiced character at the end. It is Buzz Aldrin.
It is Buzz Aldrin. I know, but like the kid and the Buzz Aldrin.
It's the kid and the old man at the end. Yeah. So I got that and everything, and I was like, okay, and that was kind of it, so essentially. But obviously we'll talk about what we feel about the endings in a minute as well. But Remy, you go for your.
So I've done Control, I've done Destroy, and I've done Synergy. I've done them all, and I've done them all with the highest rating the whole way through. And I always pick Synergy normally. I think Synergy is my favourite ending. I think it makes the most sense. I think it means that it's kind of what Shepard's kind of been fighting for the whole way through, and I thought that just my Shepard would probably choose to combine these two races, or combine and kind of create cohesion in the universe. And I tend to pick Synergy. I haven't picked Control more than once, because Control kind of makes me think why. Like, it feels unnatural to pick Control.
Yeah.
Basically because you fight against the elusive man the entire way through, and then at the end you're like, yeah, no, I'm gonna do exactly what he wants. But yeah, I've never picked Destroyed again, and I've got the breathing one once, but that doesn't make me want to pick it again, because I figure most likely Shepard is probably crushed under something and is going to die anyway. Yeah,
he'll probably bleed out or something. So
so normally it's Synergy for me, and I always pick Synergy. Mainly, the main payoff for Synergy for me is seeing certain characters still alive because of my Synergy ending, and also seeing those little, like, pictures at the end. Those, like, prologue, or sorry, is it epilogue, sorry. Epilogue pictures that you get from the Synergy ending compared to the Destroyed ending.
It's kind of like the whole 6 months later kind of thing. It's
basically.
This is what happened next.
Great, okay.
So
that's how I normally pick Synergy.
Now, I was going to ask a question of you then.
Was it the big question?
What the question was now.
Was it the big question?
Not really. But no, so in terms of, because I know people basically want our opinions on the endings in general.
Okay.
Were you disappointed by the endings? Did it get to a point where, because you played all 3 endings in terms of like Synergy, Synthesis, whatever it is, it's all something. Destroy and Control. I chose Control once, and the rest of the time I chose Destroy. I've never chosen Synthesis, despite the fact I feel it is probably the best of both worlds. So, in my current, not my current playthrough, I'm still playing Mass Effect 1 at the moment, but I plan to play all 3 before 4 comes out. And then in this next one, this next playthrough I'm going to do, I'm going to choose the Synthesis ending. I've already decided that. So,
okay. So what's the question?
I've got my point now.
Was I disappointed in the
were you
ending
disappointed? Were you overall in general, were you disappointed as much as everybody else was, or were you happy with it? Were you fine with it?
I'm perfectly happy with the endings of Mass Effect 3, especially with the extended cut. I would say that without the extended cut there is something lacking. I feel like there's an anticlimax ending without the extended cut. I think with the extended cut it's perfectly fine. I can see why people would be disappointed. I feel like they would think that, they haven't got an answer to every single decision that they may have got. But I think, personally, I feel like it takes a bit of, like, imagination. I know that I feel like people might think that, the game ending should completely resolve everything for you, and that's true. They should resolve everything for you, but I think that I like to have a little bit of imagination when I think of these endings. So I saw my Synergy ending, and Shepard she gave her life to kind of create a cohesion where basically all life in the universe kind of evolves to become not synthetic, not organic, but like a combination of both. The Geth and the Quarian.
Organic.
Yeah, Organic. Hashtag Organic. Like, my Geth and Quarians were working together. They were on Rannoch working together, and they were like in cohesion. They were like working together to create a new world. The Reapers are still there, but they don't have any need to destroy anyone because they're part of the same life form as well. Even small things like, Kasumi managing to speak to Keiji even though the Great Box is destroyed, because he's become kind of another organism himself. He's come back to life in a little way. I thought the ending was really good. I thought it explained everything. It showed the entire consequences of all my choices. It showed me everything I wanted to show, and I know that they were in pictures, they weren't in full animation. Maybe they could have been, but I think it was a payoff, and I just thought it was a nice moment. I know as soon as I jump into that thing, I put my controller down and I watch it, and I'm like, just gonna watch the ending. I don't think it's been disappointing. I really enjoy the ending, and I think it kind of wraps up Shepard's arc in a nice way, and I don't think Shepard needed to live at the end. So that was
no, that's understandable. I think, like we were saying at the beginning, general consensus was that everyone, well, not everyone, most people were under the impression that it was just not a great ending at all.
But do you think that's because they think Shepard should have lived at the end?
No, not necessarily. I'm kind of in the same camp as you. I don't think the ending had to have Shepard living at the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would have been fine whether he lived or died. So, because and there's a point where, it's in a podcast I listened to ages ago, and I can't remember quite what it is now, but the entirety of Mass Effect 3 is just one big ending, essentially. It's
basically, yeah.
It's not you get to the end of the game and that's just purely the ending bit there. It is one big ending. It's tying literally everything up from the previous 2 games.
Well, as far as I see the ending of Mass Effect 3, and I always saw it as that, it's not an ending. It's an ending to Shepard's story, so it's an ending to that arc of the story, but it's not an overall ending to the series. So if there is unanswered questions, we didn't know what was going to come after us. We didn't know whether it was going to be Mass Effect 4 going to be post-Shepard or pre-Shepard, but the answers were going to get revealed, and I did think that BioWare were going to release some sort of stuff for this, and them adding things like DLC, like the Citadel DLC and Omega DLC to kind of add in and flesh out Shepard's story along the way kind of means that you do kind of have a little bit more completion, that Shepard's kind of done. Like, the story doesn't need to have like this big, huge, fantastical ending, and I don't know, I thought it was simple. I think that's the whole point. I thought the ending was nice and simple. And it came down to just a choice. It wasn't like it had to be really complex and stuff, so...
Well, it's interesting to me, and I'll get onto my opinion on the endings in a moment. But having read what the original ending was they had planned before they did what they did, which was essentially it was a boss battle with the Elusive Man, and the Elusive Man turned into some big, weird, essentially the same ending as Mass Effect 1. Where it was it was Saren in the first one, but he turns into like a much bigger thing. Yeah, he turns into like a big weird robot thing.
You can see it in the concept art that they were planning to make him into this big, like...
I think it's in your art book, isn't it?
It is in my concept art book. Yeah, it's he turns into like kind of like a brute in a way, but like more of a human-y brute.
Yeah, and it was supposed to, and that was supposed to be it. You defeat him, and then I assume you then set off the array, and then goes into like a similar ending. But yeah, it was supposed to be a boss battle, but obviously they didn't do that in the end.
But I think that would have been unfair for the Elusive Man.
Yeah,
like, they gave the way they ended his arc, depending on whether you went Renegade or Paragon, and I'm assuming you went Paragon most of the time.
Yeah, I probably...
It gave him the chance to kind of realise and because he wasn't a bad guy. That's the whole point. He's not a bad dude, and all his pre-story that comes on, like the Mass Effect Evolution stuff, shows that he wasn't a bad guy. He was a good guy. He just
made bad decisions.
He got a bit influenced along the way. He got a bit fanatic.
And then got indoctrinated, obviously, and then went a bit cuckoo.
Yeah.
But for me, in terms of the endings, I'm very literal in terms of like how much I enjoy gaming endings and things like that. I take what's presented in front of me, and it's literally in my head. It's like, I'm happy with that, or I'm not happy with that. I don't like going deep delving into things.
How did it make you feel, Ash?
It made me feel fine. I had no major issues with the endings. I mean, comparatively compared to my very first run through Mass Effect 3 where I completely ballsed it up, I was very angry at the end of that because I thought that was the end of the game. I was like, oh, is that it? Well, and at that point I was ready to throw the controller at the telly. But no, after obviously realising that wasn't the case, I had to play the multiplayer and get everything, all my levels boosted up and get the percentage boosted up, my galactic readiness and stuff like that. No, I was very satisfied with the ending. I like yourself, I can understand why people would be disappointed. I don't understand why people are all out angry about it, because there's not really any need for it.
I don't know. I know some people have an issue with things like the Catalyst and the Light Child and stuff, but
yeah,
we will talk about that in other videos. But it's explained in a way, like, I think. I don't know, there's something
that loops back to Mass Effect 1 about the beings of light. So
there's a payout to Mass Effect's ending if you're kind of focused into a lot of the lore that's in the entire series, including in what's in Mass Effect 1 and what's in the Leviathan DLC, and kind of stuff that's hinted all the way through. And the ending is it seems like the ending was written with the entire trilogy in mind. And I know people don't like the Catalyst and they don't like the Light Child, but when things are actually properly explained, and I know I bitched about Destiny having all this like stuff in there, like grimoire cards, and it involved a lot of reading. But if everything's laid out for you, the Light Child makes a lot more sense.
Yes.
And so does why the Reapers are doing what they're doing. And it does mean that people may have not played the DLC. I can understand that people may have not played Leviathan, and if you haven't, go play Leviathan.
Leviathan explains a lot in terms of the Reapers themselves, and
we're having a podcast on it anyway, so
if
you haven't played it, you can always watch that.
Well, it's going to be a podcast slash
gameplay.
Slight theory gameplay kind of dealing. But Leviathan does explain a lot in terms of how the ending comes to be there as well. And a lot of people didn't buy the DLC because they did the original run through and then just thought, no, I hate this game, and just didn't do it. So if they haven't played the DLCs and they haven't seen the little bits here and there that are there to be picked up on, then they're not going to understand the ending, and they're not going to understand why there was these particular choices. But no, for me personally, I enjoyed the game. I love sci-fi games in general, but Mass Effect is my favourite. And it's just overall a fantastic story over the 3 games, and it ended in a way that I was more than happy with, to be honest. I had no major concerns. There were certain things that felt like they were kind of just added on in the first game, which I don't think were necessary. Kailang for one, Light Child for another. But the like you said, the Light Child comes into play a bit more.
And even Kailang, like when I played Mass Effect 3 the first time, I didn't understand a lot about what Kailang was all about.
Yeah.
But he's got a bunch of story that's out with the games, which is kind of hinted on what Anderson says, and he makes a lot more sense. I just wish that they'd kind of given, they could have done DLC on Kailang, and it would have made a lot of help. Having
done a lot of the research we've been doing recently,
we appreciate that character a lot more, even though he's a bastard.
He's still a git in the game, and he's still a git to beat no matter what bloody level you put it on. But no, there's a lot more understanding as to who he was, who he is. I'd like to know the bit in the middle where he transitioned from like leaving the Alliance Navy to becoming an indoctrinated psycho ninja weirdo. Because essentially he's got that mask on, but that's covering up the fact that he's got weird eyes like the rest of the Cerberus troops, and they're all like indoctrinated.
And we're going off point here.
We are, yes, but yes, and I had no problem with the ending majorly. I've had a lot more problems with other games' endings in the past. It didn't. There wasn't any hate as much as people are, and the point I normally refer back to is, and this is something I know you've watched because I obviously mentioned to you a while ago, which is the Indoctrination Theory documentary. Very good work overall. The first 2 parts in particular are my favourite parts because he goes really into depth about different theories about it, and he explains himself very well. In the 3rd part he kind of just loses it completely and just hates on EA and BioWare like really badly, and it's just like, you know what, you completely lost me there. But yeah, he said like, he was just saying like the endings and things like that, and it's like, you know what, you've done all this like looking into all the theories about the indoctrination theory, and you get to the end, you can just completely skip over it. And like you say, oh, the ending was crap, blah blah blah. But it's like you've done like over 4 hours worth of documentary, and you skip over the ending in about 4 minutes. And it's like all that time you could have spent about half an hour just just doing that a bit more, and looking into the lore, and then maybe understanding why the endings are what they are and things like that. But yeah, I had no problems with the endings. Well, the one main ending I had, which was Destroy. I didn't feel comfortable doing the Control ending when I did it the one time.
I just felt odd.
It was very weird.
It felt really unnatural. It felt like you were doing exactly the opposite of what you were fighting for the movie.
And like Shepard, like obviously isn't Shepard anymore, but it's still her voice kind of, but all like Reapery and robotic. And she speaks about herself in the 3rd person, which is kind of weird. So it's not really her anymore, kind of thing.
It becomes
so
like
she becomes a letdown. So
he or she becomes like the Reaper hive mind or the new Harbinger in a way.
Yeah.
But like I don't know, I thought the extended cut gave me what I wanted the most from the ending, which was basically Shepard kind of coming to terms with what they had to do, and that like final, like if you do take your romantic option with you on the final push, you get to have that goodbye. and you get to see that bit in the final bit on like when they're putting your name on the plaque, on the wall. And in general, like that Mass Effect ending is, the end sequence of Mass Effect is still one of my favorite sequences in gaming in general, just for the fact that it has one of the best like goodbyes ever, and that's Commander Shepard saying goodbye. Well, Amber Anderson saying goodbye to Commander Shepard, and there's no. That is that's my favorite part in the entire trilogy, and just on that basis alone, I forgive it for anything that it could have done wrong. Like I still was like, it still had a payoff. It still made me like cry. So like, I'm happy. So yeah. It was simple and it had a lot of emotion in it, but it was still simple. It didn't try to overcomplicate things. It was Shepard just saying that I've got to do this. I may not understand why I'm doing it, but I have to do it. And then them sacrificing themselves, knowing full well that they probably wouldn't survive.
Yeah.
And the galaxy recognizing that Shepard did do this.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's it. Yeah, I mean, when it comes down to it, Mass Effect is a game where you can agree or disagree. You can have your own, you can take away your own kind of thoughts and feelings about it, and I think that's probably what's so great about it, is that it's very individual to the way the one person who's playing it is feeling at the time. So, and obviously a lot of people weren't happy with the ending, but they were probably unhappy with it for their own individual reasons rather than probably a collective reason there as well. I mean, for me, if there were bits I was unhappy with, they were very few and far between, but the bits I was happy with were because I individually was happy with them, and I'm not going to try and impart. No,
if people don't like the ending,
that's their opinion.
They
we
don't
respect
like it.
that.
No.
We're not going to impart our opinion on somebody else.
No.
So, no, because that's not fair. So if you didn't like it for any reason, then that's fine. Then that's your opinion. And, but no, we just happen to like the ending. We enjoyed the way it concluded, and it gave us resolution.
It did. It gave us
for the free games and the story arc there, and now we look forward to the new one. A fresh start in a new one, where
wherever and whoever and whenever that might be.
Well, this is it, exactly, and obviously slaves aren't going to matter now as well, because they're not going to transfer over. I think they may do something where they'll transfer whatever your ending was, and then that'll be the state of the galaxy kind of thing.
I think I think the ending is gonna transfer over like the way they did Dragon Age Inquisition. I think there's gonna be a keep format that they're gonna upload for you to put your key options in. Just so that allow players to at least have a feeling that they could actually put their choices in the game. It probably won't be every single choice, but I think it'll be things like, did you sabotage the cure, or did you pick the Geth or the Quarians, or did you manage to get them to work together in a way that
I don't think it'll be as in depth as the Inquisition keep.
No, Inquisition there was like really small ones. I just think that, like, obviously if we go by the leak, if there is a Krogan on your squad, that Krogan may have some opinions about the Genophage and what happened. So they can't not talk about it. So I feel like they probably learnt from Dragon Age, and it worked well. I never had any issues with uploading any options and stuff. So
well, that's not suited you. I mean, I was with you for 2 hours.
That was nothing to do with the keep. I'll tell you that.
That was your origin account. Those problems.
But there was no issue. So as long as they implement something like that, I think they will transfer choices. But I don't think it'll affect the game world significantly.
No. And from what we're hearing, as far as we know, and according to the leak, again, if it's legitimate or not, but if they're going by the fact that it's 4 times as big as Mass Effect 3, and Mass Effect 3 was pretty big. I think probably the biggest one was Mass Effect 2 though, wasn't it? If I'm not mistaken.
What, game world wise?
In terms of
I don't know. I feel like Mass Effect, and we're going completely off point here, but anyway, I feel like Mass Effect in general, the game worlds got bigger as they went. Like there was more Mass Effect 2 was probably the biggest in the number of worlds you could probably like probe and explore and stuff, but I feel like as the games went by, they lost, like, it became more linear. So Mass Effect 2 was a lot more linear than Mass Effect 1, and Mass Effect 3 was definitely a lot more linear than Mass Effect 2.
Yes.
So there on Mass Effect 1, there was a lot of like, just drop the Mako here and just roll around an empty world. Which was sometimes really boring because the world was completely completely empty.
Well, yeah, the words were the same essentially. They're just different colours.
Different colours. But Mass Effect 3 became like, go here, go here, go here, go here.
Yeah.
And Mass Effect 2 was kind of like, well, go here, and there might be a side mission or something.
Well, it's like the evolution of the planet scanning as well. It's like before you drove on the planet, and the second one it was kind of
I feel like
not so much, and then the third one it's like, yeah, just scan the solar system.
I feel like BioWare and EA kind of picked up what they want from Mass Effect, the trilogy, and they've picked up what they want from their other franchises like Dragon Age, Old Republic, Knights of the Old Republic. They're gonna try and make it as more exploration based. I think that's going to be a very key factor.
Yeah.
That you're going to be able to kind of, and I think they're doing that whole like random generated planet thing, aren't they?
Yes. Yeah.
So everyone should have a very personal experience, I think.
Yeah, and that's it. And as long as I think they continue the idea of people getting their own kind of conclusion out of it, rather than people just like having the same conclusion, like in larger groups, then yeah, I think it'll be fine. From what I've heard so far. And again, if the leak is true, then it sounds...
If this leak is not true, we're going to all be like sideswiped
True,
here.
yeah. It'll be something completely different. It'll just be like...
Oh, no, it's going to be all on Earth.
Yeah. You don't go to space at all.
No, it's underground.
Yeah, it's all paperwork.
Subterranean.
It's all it is. But no, yeah, if the leak is true in any way, shape or form, then it's got my interest. So I'm very much looking forward to it.
Yeah.
But of course, we will wait for E3, which is the main one.
We shall wait for E3.
So, yeah. But that's kind of it. So... We like the ending.
But tell us your opinions in the comments. Did you like the ending?
Yes.
Because we'd like to know. And if so, why? If not, why? But keep it civil.
And which ending did you choose?
Sorry?
Which ending did they choose?
Oh, I thought you said which one, something about shoes. Anyway.
What?
Yeah, so continue.
Good lord, what's wrong with
It's
your
10
hearing?
o'clock. It's 10 o'clock, okay?
That's true.
At night.
But, yeah, well, whatever. But yeah, so that's the end of our first one. Obviously, we've got a few more coming up in the, I reckon, the near future. I think we did another one on Thursday, but it probably won't come out for another week or so.
Yeah.
But yes, so thank you very much for listening, and obviously let us know what you think and what your opinions are in the comments below. And obviously subscribe to the channel to keep up to date with all things Mass Effect, and you can help the channel to grow by sharing the video too. And that's us done for our first podcast, and we'll catch you again very, very soon. Bye bye.
Bye bye.